Way back in 2017, 2018, this channel started reporting something very different about Venezuela than what was being reported in the mainstream media. Nobody was suspicious when both Fox News and CNN came out with the exact same story about the evil, terrible, horrible dictator Nicolas Maduro and the cause of a certain financial collapse happening in Venezuela. Everybody just got right on board with it. They couldn't believe their own particular choice of news organization would lie to them. It couldn't possibly be a conspiracy to take control of the largest known oil reserves in the world. No, it was just evil, horrible socialism, and capitalism should win the day. That's what everybody believed. Well, in this video, I have some brand new information for you regarding Venezuela. And if you still don't get it, I don't know that there's any hope for you. But if you'd like to prove you're a capitalist and that nobody should ever have anything for free ever, please join us over Patreon. We have gloves off videos that are $1 per month. Even less if you sign up for an entire year. It's the lowest allowable level. And believe me, the videos over there are longer, more detailed, and very, very different, with imagery and commentary that would not be allowed here. Just like in the old days of pay-per-view, if you wanted to watch the really good shows that were on HBO or Showtime or Cinemax, you had to pay a little bit. It was even way back in the 80s and 90s, it was way more than $1. So it was actually way more than $1 a month if you even wanted to have those channels. So would love to have you over there. And like I said, fully refundable first 90 days. No questions asked. Now, let's forget for 1 minute that the leader of Venezuela at the time went before the UN and invoked the name of Jesus at a time when here in this country we had one major political party that was voting to remove God from their platform. Give me your crown, Jesus. Give me your cross, your thorns, so that I may bleed, but give me life because I have more to do for this country and these people. This is, of course, Hugo Chavez, the leader of Venezuela, the person you were taught to hate. Let's also forget, for 1 minute, that when elections didn't work out like Washington, D.C. wanted, they just magically decided to declare them invalid and ignore them. And this channel reported that's not going to work out really well down in Venezuela because they don't understand the people. I called it the greatest geopolitical miscalculation that our government had ever made, and I still stand by that. Well, where are we today? Washington, D.C. was forced to abandon their hopes and recognize the reality that the Venezuelan people truly, in this respect, have more national pride than even North Americans do. They would rather have their quote-unquote dictator and maybe not be as wealthy or as prosperous, but have it be their guy than live prosperously or in a more wealthy way under anybody else's thumb. See, they didn't care about the U.S.'s money. They didn't care about Washington, D.C.'s approval. They wanted their guy. And if they didn't succeed or if they failed or whatever, it would be on them. But remember random guy named Juan Guaido? Many people forget that prior to him, there was another random guy named Juan. His name was Juan Requesens. And he was the first person that Washington, D.C. decided to help try to assassinate Maduro. But you see, they had an image problem because they were trying to push this whole, the Venezuelans are starving and they have no food and oh no, it's going to be terrible. But they didn't realize their spokesman was 400 pounds. Yes, that's right. Juan Requesens, the starving Venezuelan who the U.S. tried to get to assassinate Nicolas Maduro, was nearly 400 pounds. So they had to abandon that. You see, I literally had to explain to people on this channel that if you're plotting to kill the current president of your country, you're not allowed to run for president of that country at the same time. And anyone who enforces a law that prohibits this doesn't make them a dictator. That's how messed up people were in the mind. But it got even better. It got even better because something happened that Washington, D.C. didn't even think about. He didn't realize the internet was everywhere. And there was this girl, young girl, on YouTube that primarily talked about young girl stuff, shopping and makeup and all this, whatever. She decided to put out a video of her going to the grocery store in Venezuela. This is back in 2017. And buying a bunch of stuff and putting it together to help out her neighbors. And here's the video of her walking through. Let's see if I can get this to play. Here it is. Walking through the grocery store and buying a bunch of stuff, everything fully stocked, and filling up her cart. And she says, yeah, things are very, very inexpensive now. Juice, jams, and dips, and all sorts of stuff. Fully stocked shelves. Literally showed this to people, and still people didn't get it. Then I showed, look, see all these people at this rally for Nicolas Maduro? These millions and millions of people that showed up in support? See, what does this remind you of? Remember the Trump rallies, the MAGA rallies? And then all of a sudden he lost the election, but all these people were turning out to support him, but he was second place and literally nobody turned out to, they couldn't literally fill a Holiday Inn meeting room to support Joe Biden, but you literally got standing room only at Trump rallies, but they're telling you, oh, Joe Biden's way more popular. Same thing down here. Exact same thing down here. Millions and millions of people would show up for these rallies, and what would, of course, the mind-numbed zombies here in North America say, oh, the military was forcing them to. That's what, yeah, that's right. Millions and millions of people. No, you see, it couldn't have been big oil trying to make an adjustment for the expiring of the oil export ban. Wait, what was that, McKee? Oil export ban, what? Yeah, you see, way back in 1975, in this country, we passed a law that said, big oil, if you drill oil in North America, it has to be sold here. It has to benefit the American people. Well, guess what? In 2015, that expired. The oil export ban expired. So guess what? Guess what? That's right. Whole bunch of oil gets dumped in the market. So they got to go find oil other places. They got to go find oil other places. And of course, the logic that says controlling the drilling, shipping, storing, refining, buying, selling, trading, and taxing of oil actually does control the prices. You have to explain that to people. You also have to explain that virtually every major nation in the world, other than the United States, has taken control of its supplies of these types of things and nationalized for the benefit of the people their oil supplies. Virtually every country. Explain all this, and people to say, oh, socialism is when you take my paycheck and you give it to that lazy oaf over there who's not doing any kind of work. If that's what you think socialism is, you probably should just click off the video right now. Because that is such a tiny slice of it that you'll never get this. Venezuela halts nearly all oil exports amid payment probe. Guess why? 24 March 2023. Guess why Venezuela has halted nearly all oil exports? Because people aren't paying their bills. How many of you have seen the sign? Prepay only when you go to the gas pump. Prepay only this pump. Well, guess what? Venezuela's had to do that. Crude oil exports from Venezuela have all but dried up as the government investigates oil contracts with a mountain of unpaid oil purchase bills to the tune of $21 billion. According to Reuters, the investigation, which has so far seen at least 20 arrests and the resignation of Venezuela's oil minister, is now at a stage where invoices for oil sold are being matched with payments made. According to unnamed sources and documents, while this goes on, state-owned PDVSA is exporting almost no oil, with just 4 buyers scheduled to take off from Venezuela's ports this week. Get this. Here are the people paying their bills. Here are the people paying their bills. An Iranian company, a Cuban one, Chevron, and a Chinese company. That's it. Earlier this week, PDVSA documents show that the company had accumulated $21.2 billion in accounts receivable over the past 3 years. The amount represented some 84% of the oil it had sold during the period. The value of Venezuela's oil export was $25.27 billion between 2020 January and March 2023. But documents provided to Venezuela's Attorney General during an audit of PDVSA contracts showed that the state oil firm could only confirm the receipt of $4 billion of that. Less than, what is that, a sixth? Like 15%? $3.6 billion of the total receivable sum may never get paid, as it concerns cargoes whose buyers never prepaid even a part of the total owed for that cargo, meaning no deposit. And now, PDVSA is said to have tightened the prepayment rules for its crude oil after the reviews of contracts began earlier this year. The Venezuelan state-owned oil company now demands that cargoes be paid in cash or in goods and services that should be received before loadings can take place. Now is it so hard to believe that the U.S. was trying to steal Venezuela's oil? And if you think it's just Venezuela, guess what? African country nationalizes ExxonMobil's assets. See, this is what the big complaint with Chavez was. He nationalized big oil's assets down there. He said, look, we have to give you chance after chance after chance to not be a bunch of dickbags and douchebags and steal from us. And they kept doing it, thinking they were above the law. And so finally, Chavez put his foot down. And now guess what? Chad's energy minister this is today, I believe this is 25 March 2023. Chad's energy minister, the country of Chad, energy minister, has announced the nationalization of all the assets and rights that belong to a subsidiary of U.S. oil major ExxonMobil, including hydrocarbon permits, as well as exploration and production permits, according to a Reuters report. Exxon's assets reportedly included a 40% stake in Chad's Doba oil project, which comprises 7 producing oil fields with a combined output of 28,000 barrels per day. The report also mentions Exxon's interest in the Chad-Cameroon export transportation system, which extends for over 1,000 kilometers. Meanwhile, U.S. oil giant posts monster profit. Yeah, that's what happens when you steal. In 2017, the Chilean High Court demanded the oil explorer pay $819 million in overdue royalties after Exxon, in overdue royalties, almost $1 billion, posting record profits and not paying their bills. Wouldn't that be great? Was accused of not having met its tax obligations. The corporation later reached a settlement over its tax payments, avoiding a $74 billion fine from the Central African country. Chad has the 10th largest oil reserves in Africa, exporting 90% of its crude. The Chilean government challenged the $407 million acquisition deal, saying the final terms were different from what Exxon had presented. No. You mean Big Oil lied? I don't believe this. American corporation lying? Man. I mean, what are we supposed to believe these days? You see, now do you get it? Now do you get it? And on one other note, I've talked about this issue with OnlyFans. This is hilarious. And if this doesn't prove what I said about this particular platform and what's going on, nothing else will. Black China ditches OnlyFans for faith and life-changing transformation. By the grace of God, I'm still here. I'm sure there's a lot of people like that. That's right, monkey. She found Jesus, and she's going to now go out, and she's going to change a lot of people's lives. Black China was the number one earner on OnlyFans. In 1 year, Black China made $240 million. $250 million in 1 year. Bella Thorne was right behind her. So just her and Bella Thorne in 1 year earned $500 million. That's just 2 creators. Just 2. Cardi B, only a mere $108 million. Not lifetime earnings, just in 1 year. So yeah, it's super easy to then take $250 million and pretty much set you and everybody you know for life, and then say, oh, now I'm going to, go talk about Jesus. When she gives all the money back, and everybody else who got money from her, they give all the money back, then maybe I'll believe this nonsense. Reminds me of those girls from Fox that made all that money, but now they want to do Bible studies. Ainsley Earhart. You see, this is the kind of crap that, and I'm going to go back to it. If you're an emotional type where you go to the internet seeking information, and instead of getting information, you come away with an emotion, you've probably been psyoped. Let me say that again. If you go to the internet simply seeking information about what's going on in the world, you want to be informed, but you come away from that journey feeling something different. Angry at Joe Biden, or super happy at Donald Trump, or sad about this, or worried about... If you're coming away with an emotion seeking information, you have been mentally manipulated. This is what we try to get people to stop doing over at Patreon channel. This Patreon channel, Psychological Operations, the 24 cognitive biases, the 24 logical fallacies, when you learn them and you embrace them and you understand they affect everybody, you can see things like the giant lie about Venezuela and what they were trying to do. Oh, you can look in the past now and see it, but try to tell anybody back in 2017 or 2018 that what was being reported on Fox was a lie. What was being reported on CNN was a lie. Universally from both sides, this channel was taking heat. Saying, oh no, look, don't you recognize the dark mustache from Saturday morning cartoons? That means he's a bad guy. That's literally what I was getting. In a nutshell, figuratively speaking. Even when I showed full grocery, literally videos from Venezuela with full grocery stores and people with money to buy things, liquor, wine, all over the place, and huge rallies, nah. No, everybody thought big oil was on America's side. It's just unbelievable. It was just literally unbelievable. In 2023 now, a lot of people are like, okay, yeah, you know what? Maybe they did. I'm still not going to believe in socialism because it means taking money out of my check and giving it to that lazy, do-it-for-nothing guy down the road who doesn't want to work. That's literally the basis. You can call anything that. They're taking your money, and this person over here is not working as hard as you. Oh, somebody's not pulling their weight? Really? I'm going to love to see these people in survival groups. When the lights go out, I am going to love to see these people in survival groups. What's going to happen when they perceive some member of their survival group isn't pulling his weight. If they're just going to quit the group. Or they're going to quit trying themselves. Hey, all you military guys out there. Everybody in the unit pull their weight equally? Does that mean you didn't do your job? Does that mean you didn't follow orders? Do you just not get up that day? I'm not going to go to formation because Sergeant so-and-so or Specialist so-and-so, I'm going to have to work harder and they're getting away with shamming. I'm just not going to do my job now. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. This is what happened in Venezuela. And this is why if we don't fix things quick, well, I don't even know if we can at this point. But this is what psyops is all about. Would love to have you at the channel. Love to have you at the Patreon channel. It's only $1. Just $1. Believe me, best money you ever spent. God bless. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.